So, welcome back again to Christ Church in the old city of Jerusalem. So, this time, maybe I would like to point out something that is very close to my heart and is maybe the heart of this place and the heart of the vision that this place has to do with. And I'm talking about the stained glass window. There are actually two on both sides, and they are more or less the same, except for the verses under the picture. And what it represents is basically the reality of what's happening here and what's happening in Israel and even beyond with the restoration of the Jewish people to the Messiah, Yeshua. And these pictures really depict what Paul speaks about in Romans chapter 11, when he speaks about the two olive trees, the natural olive tree representing believing Israel. And then he speaks about the wild olive tree and the wild olive branches that are grafted into the natural olive tree of Israel, representing the nations or the Gentiles that through Jesus are now becoming part of the commonwealth of Israel through faith. And if you look at the picture, at the window, you see that first of all there are branches that are broken off, that are on the ground. Paul says that some branches were broken off from their original tree because of unbelief, because of rejecting Yeshua. And you see two branches coming up on the right and on the left of the tree. So the branch coming out on the right side is in the shape of a menorah. On the left is in the shape of a cross, basically speaking of the two parts of the body of Christ, the body of Messiah, the Jewish part and the Gentile part. But that's not the end of it. There is a promise. There is the words of Paul when he speaks of the future restoration of these broken off branches. He says, just as the Lord is faithful, he will in the future restore or regraft those original branches to their own tree. And we have these two verses under the trees. On the one hand, it says, the gifts and callings of God are irrevocable. And on the left side, we have this promise of restoration, saying, Paul is speaking to the Gentile believers in Rome. He says, the same mercy that you were shown, that you received from God, they will also receive, speaking of the Jews being restored to their own tree. And so what do we have here now in Jerusalem, in Israel, and beyond? But I would like to focus on Jerusalem because this tree, the olive tree, which represents the followers of Yeshua, has been, so to speak, uprooted from the soil. And normally, if we think of a tree, it has to be planted somewhere. And we are seeing how God is now replanting this olive tree back into the soil of Jerusalem. Why Jerusalem? Because this is where everything started and everything will come to its culmination. And so we are now seeing the olive tree being replanted into the soil of Jerusalem. And who are the Messianic Jews? The Messianic Jews are those branches that were broken off because of unbelief, now through faith in Yeshua being regrafted into the natural olive tree, which is planted in Jerusalem. And so what is happening here is basically the fulfillment of prophecy. We see Jews and Gentiles meeting one another in the only legitimate, I would say, meeting point, which is Jerusalem. Just as in the Old Testament, all the tribes of the Lord had to come together to Jerusalem to gather together and to worship God as one people, under one God, in the one temple in Jerusalem. So now we're seeing in this process of restoration, the Jews and the Gentiles coming to Jerusalem to worship God together, the God of Israel, in his chosen city as one people. So if this does not give you hope or provoke a sense of joy and thankfulness to the Lord, I don't know what will. So I just want to share this with you as a point of encouragement, because what the Lord promised, He is also doing, and we can see it happening right before our eyes. So God bless you.